When we manage to occupy an enemy weak spot in the center with one of our minor pieces, usually this means problem for the other guy. It's like a disease almost for the enemy pieces when this occurs, because when this happens, because the enemy pieces lack mobility, and sometimes we can use this to attacking other sides of the board. Hi friends, I hope you're doing great. Today we are going to see a game of Bobby Fischer against Gadia that is used in many places as an example of this idea. In this position, I hope you can figure out what is White's move here. Uh, but in order to do that, in the last video about the strategy, I explained you that we should evaluate, make a plan, and then execute this plan. And when we evaluate, we have to consider the most important elements in the position. That is why it's useful to study master games. You hopefully commented, because we can then learn the patterns about what are the most important elements in the given situation. And here, the most important element is, well, the d5 squared, that is under White's control, the d6 pawn, that is a weak pawn, and our plan should be around that idea. How can we reinforce our grip over this square? So White here play a typical move, typical maneuver, bishop g5. Our plan is to keep our bishop on f6, so one of the defenders is going to disappear. Black play check, White move the king, and Black castle. And now we execute our plan. Bishop took, bishop took. This is a really good moment for you guys to think about what is the best move to play. I think you should, if you don't have a clear idea about what to do here, stop the clock for a couple minutes and analyze this position and try to understand what we should do. Okay, so I will give you a few seconds, please. Do your thinking, and I'll be back in a little bit. Okay, I hope you found the best move. Maybe you thought about queen takes a pawn because there is a pawn hanging there, but that will be terrible, because then this move comes. Okay, d8. And if I try to play something like queen b4 to escape with the queen, well, then a5 will come. I will have to come anyway to a3, and b4 will come. I will lose a piece. So the pawn right now is invulnerable. But White here play a really nice move, bishop d5. So now we are going to be in a situation similar to in the Smyslov game that I commented last week, where we are going to have a super strong knight against a really bad bishop. Now, maybe some of you thought about knight d5. Is this move good? Actually, I think it's really good too. Black probably will try to play around the knight with queen d8. But I think definitely White is better here. What we will do is just to remember we have to be consequent. So most probably we will play around the d6 pawn that is weak and the d5 square. Probably we will play something like rook d1. Second, I'm moving my recording screen. Rook d1, or maybe rook fd1, and try to put extra pressure over the d6 pawn before make any commitment in our position as White. Now, what if Black takes? Well, then this is a dream position for White. We will have a really strong bishop against a terrible bishop, and in this point White probably will try to, let's say rook here, to play something like rook d1 once again, put more pressure, and then evidently for Black to defend d6 will be really easy. And even if the bishop, he could play bishop e7. And if my bishop on d5 looks great, he is not doing much by itself. Other time maybe controlling this square and putting pressure on the king side, but it's not that clear how to use that until you realize, oh well, Black pieces are having problems to move around because this bishop's pressure. So we should open the game in the other side of the board as White. Play something like c3 and a4 to open the A file that now cannot be contested by black will increase our advantage. So that will be a typical way to continue here. Anyway, in the game I like better Fischer's moves. Fischer's move, bishop d5, black play rook c8, white took, and now white play rook 81. Again, we have a goal, we have a target. No need to start moving everything around. We are going to focus on trying to put pressure on this guy, make life a little bit hard for black, and once we feel our pieces are in the best possible position, we can then figure out if there is something else to be done. But right now, let's keep increasing the pressure. Rook f d8, knight d5, hitting the queen, so no time to take on c2. Queen d8. Of course, we don't want white to take on fc and destroy your castle position. It could be risky. Pawn c3. Black here play bishop e7. A move that I don't particularly love, even if black's position already is terrible, it's hard to give any advice. But here I think again you should try to figure out how to continue. So please take 3-4 minutes, analyze this position, stop the video in the meantime, and please compare your ideas with what happened in the game or what could have happened in the game, because actually here there are a couple of really strong ideas. Okay, let's go. Okay, welcome back. I hope you found one of White's ideas. One is the move that Fischer played. We will see that one in second place, it's second alternative, because first I want to focus on this idea. Why is this for? Well, what we want is to force black to take on f6, and now the move that wins here is rook f6. Yes, white is basically winning here in my opinion. After this move, it's really hard to hold this as black. My knight is a monster. His bishop was terrible, but even if I make him give a terrible bishop, his castle position is just terrible, and the rooks cannot do anything to fight against the knight and the threats that I can create. So once I take on f6 and he takes back, we play rook f1, threat, knight f6, and then queen h3. Everything will be falling apart. After, let's say, king h8, so we can bring the queen. Well, queen h3 seems to be the best. Queen g8. And now, a couple of moves here that are really good are 1, knight a7. I'm taking back the exchange. You have to protect the rook on c8. But now, white has used a ridiculous move. Of course, if you don't protect the rook right away, I just take on c8, and this is an extra piece. So queen here or somewhere, and rook f5, and even if you can take my piece and you have an extra rook, you cannot stop the checkmate that is coming. Let's say f5 for example, rook check, here, and checkmate. So look at how, because my knight controls everything in d5, black is not able to organize a defense because his pieces just lack the mobility to fight against such a strong piece. In the game, Fischer did not play pawn f6, but his move is also really strong. He played rook a1. The idea to play a4 and occupy the a file with his rooks. Let's say here black stopped me from playing f6, as happened in the game. Then I will play a4, and in the game black here just play a terrible move and lost on the spot, but his position is beyond salvation. b5 is falling. Let's say I protected with rook c5. Many moves here are good, but I could just take. a6 is hanging, and if pawn takes, rook a7, bishop here. I could use double rooks. This evidently improved my position, and look at black pieces. They're just terrible. Next I could play b4 and go for the pawn on b5. Black got no counterplay, no way to do anything here. Why can't you just try to keep improving his position? Something like rook b7 and rook a7, maybe h3. Of course, b4 and rook a5 to take the pawn. For example here, this looks okay. Black's position is so bad that he cannot even try to protect the pawn because... No, wait. I was thinking knight b6, but of course a3 is hanging. Well, doesn't matter. I mean, try to play something as black here. You're basically in sub 1. Okay. Anyway, in the game we could not see any of this because black decided to play rook b8. White just took and play queen d5, and it's game over. Black resigned. He loses her whole rook. Yeah, I know it was not the most exciting end of the game, but I think this game is just really instructive in the way of how strong is a central knight or a centralized piece in a weak enemy spot. In this case, against this structure, same structure that we saw in the Smyslov game. So I hope this is helpful for you. I hope you pay attention to the idea we discussed last time. First, Fischer make a plan, going for the d5 square with the d6 pawn. Also, kind of shielding this square, so he played bishop g5, took the bishop, exchanged the bishop on c6. Also, knight d5 was okay, but this idea I just love it. Increase the pressure, and once his pieces were like in the best possible position, he figured out, okay, here to increase the pressure on d6 is not going to do much, so because his pieces are tied now, I can open the game in the other side of the board. And of course, f6 was a really strong move, but I mean, the advantage is so much that f6, you understand that he has, even if you see everything up to the end, it has some risk involved. So I cannot complain about Fischer playing rook a1 that is also super strong. Okay, hope you like this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.